you know that it wasn't that long ago that we would get kicked out of places for saying the word marketing? In the context of ministry, marketing was a dirty word. Because most people would equate marketing with what? Business.
Worldly measures.
Worldly measures. Madison Avenue approaches. I want to talk about marketing because that essentially is your task. And it doesn't matter whether you are on the front end of raising support or whether you've been doing it for years and years and years. All right? Marketing is part of your task. Let me share with you a great quote. This is by Regis McKenna. Regis McKenna is kind of a guru in the arena of marketing and organizations, etc. He says that marketing is everything and everything is marketing. All right? I want you to start thinking about that as you approach this issue of partner development. All right? Tell me what your understanding is of the term marketing. What does that mean to you? Before we get in, and I correct you, all right? What does marketing mean to you? Somebody volunteer. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Advertising.
Advertising. Sure, everybody knows about advertising, right? Alice?
Selling an idea, service, or product.
Selling an idea, a service, or product. Key word there, what? Selling? Okay. Others?
Communicating your vision.
Communicating your vision. Ooh, we're translating now. We're imposing that term on what we do in our work, right? Is that not also what secular companies do in their work? Right? If you have a product or a service or something to, quote, sell, part of that is communicating your vision for what that can do. For whom? For whom?
Them.
Them who? Who's them?
The consumer.
Your customer. Who's your customer?
Donors.
Do you have a customer? And we don't want to be accused of selling somebody something they're not interested in, right? We're not wanting to be accused of ramming our views down people's throats, and we're accused of that often in the evangelical world. You can't impose your views and your beliefs on me. That's what Christianity's all about these days. You want to convert me, you want to ram your ideas down my throat. So we can take that idea of marketing and selling and take it to those kinds of extremes, and it's a very negative picture, isn't it? I'm going to change your thinking about that during the course of this next half hour or so, okay? We're not going to talk about marketing and selling. We're going to talk about marketing as something else, okay? First of all, we're going to put it in the proper context, and that is in the context of who we're working to try and engage with, all right? We're going to put it in the context of our customers rather than in terms of ourselves. All right? Let me share another great quote with you. And this is something that I think you'll find to be interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to read it up here. Hopefully you can. I can barely read it on my screen. A shared vision is what we're talking about. Okay? Marketing is about sharing vision. A shared vision is not an idea. It is rather a force in people's hearts. A force of impressive power. It may be inspired by an idea, but once it goes further, if it is compelling enough to acquire the support of more than one person, then it is no longer an abstraction. It is palpable. People begin to see it as if it exists. Few, if any, forces in human affairs are as powerful as a shared vision. A vision is truly shared when you and I have a similar picture and are committed to one another having it, not just to each of us individually having it. When people truly share a vision, they are connected, bound together by a common aspiration. Personal visions derive their power from an individual's deep caring for the vision. Shared visions derive their power from a common caring. In fact, we have come to believe that one of the reasons people seek to build shared visions is their desire to be connected in an important undertaking. A shared vision uplifts people's aspirations and inspires action. Peter Senge in The Fifth Discipline. Marvelous book. If you haven't read it, go to the library. It's available everywhere. Business sections of Borders carry this, etc. Great thinking. And certainly not applied to missions when he wrote it. It's applied to businesses. But if you can use this kind of language in talking about widgets and computers and glassware and Tupperware and underwear, maybe outerwear, I don't know. Why can't you apply these same kinds of thoughts to us in our endeavors for the Lord? Is it not exactly what we're trying to do? To share vision with people, to engage them in the missionary enterprise, wherever it is that we're called to serve, whether it's in headquarters or whether it's sweeping the streets or whether it's in Cambodia or Mongolia or any of those areas. You know, this is the kind of thing that we're talking about here. There's a very important section of this I want to point out. A vision is truly shared when you and I have a similar picture and are committed to one another having it. Not just to each of us individually having it. When people truly share a vision, they are connected, bound together by a common aspiration. What does that say to you in regard to the ministry of partner development?
It's collaborative.
It is collaborative. It is collaborative. Your focus is beyond yourself. Your focus must be to engage those people who are going to enable you to even do what God has called you to do. It is collaborative. Any other thoughts on that? The notion of commitment, the notion of being bound together by a common aspiration. What does that tell you about the kinds of people that you're praying for to be a part of your team? I see nodding. Give me some ideas. Give me some answers. What does that say to you?
Well, you're the one, as the missionary, you have to cast the vision out there and invite people to be part of that with you.
That's right. And is everybody going to do that, Sherry? No. No. So what's the key word here? Common aspiration. Common aspiration. Not everybody's interested in Spain. You know, the reality is a lot of people think that, hey, you know, Spain had its chance. They blew it. They've been a, quote, Christian nation forever and ever and ever. Let's go someplace where, you know, people have never heard the gospel before. And those would not be people who have the common aspiration. They may have a common interest in missions, but perhaps not where you are going to be. Perhaps not how you are going to serve. Rich.
It also tells me that I don't want to be satisfied with just getting some people on board who maybe just know us and will support us because they know us. I want them to catch the vision of why I'm doing what I'm doing and how they can be a part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Barry talked earlier about the issue of values and how it's very important for the values of your team to line up not only with you, but also with your sending organization. Your current organization is engaged in the big picture. People need to understand that big picture. They need to see that and feel that and understand that there's an organization behind you as a missionary that is accomplishing great things in the world. It's not all going to happen through you. But it becomes then part of this common aspiration and the connectedness between your team, yourself, your organization, and God. That's a pretty powerful team right there. And we're all about common values, common aspirations, and connectedness, being bound together. That's a critical statement. All right? So if we can begin this afternoon with that understanding that what we're engaged in is not only a missionary enterprise, but a visionary enterprise, then you're going to get the things that we're going to share with you from this point forward. Okay? We're going to get that. If you don't understand your vision and can communicate your vision in the context of your organization's vision, you've got 2 strikes against you already. All right? And all you're hoping for is a relationship with people who want to hand you money every month. You've got to take it down to the point here where we're building a building on a foundation of common shared aspirations. Alex.
Jeff, earlier Barry said something about a friend of his who he supports in China, writing a newsletter saying about, we reach 60 quadrillion billion people, whatever. I don't want to know about that. I want to know what you're doing.
There you go.
How does that relate to what you're saying now about tying our vision or our part in the vision of what our organization does? For example, HEJV is all over the world. We do reach a billion, gazillion people, you know?
That's right.
How does that correlate with each
Well,
other?
let me come back to the issue of context. The role that you play is not going to reach a billion people.
Correct.
Can't do that physically. I mean, you just can't do that physically. But within the context of the greater organizational vision, it may be something that is, in your case, you're reaching people through broadcasts all over the world. All right. What is that unique part of that ministry that is your part and that you have a vision to do?
Okay.
And within the context of your organization, or the China ministry, for example, this one guy is not going to reach 6 billion people.
And
He's not going to do it.
my $100 a month is not going to reach 6 billion people.
Your $100 a month is not going to reach 600 people.
That's right. And I know, as a donor, I know that.
All right? But your $100 a month can have a very significant part in the organization's effort to blanket China with the gospel. All right? Because your part is going to be working within this community, reaching this segment of that community, businessmen, pastors, teachers, whatever, and that has a multiplier effect then through what the overall efforts of the organization are. We'll talk more about those kinds of techniques as we go on through the rest of our material. But that notion of commonality, connectedness, being bound together becomes a very important part. And I think that this is one of the things where we really fall down. We've got to put ourselves into the mindset of our teams in order to do a good job. I'm going to come back to this issue. We have to think about marketing to an audience of one, all right? Our partner or our prospective partner. Not our partner team, our partner. We have a tendency to put everybody into the big group. And we think of our team, and we write to them as that way. Dear team, how do you do that? How do you create a relationship with 300 people and hope for it to be meaningful to them? Let's begin to come back to the issue that we're talking to individuals, okay? We are engaging individuals to join us in our shared vision. Rule number one is that it is not about you in the issue of partner development in particular, and particularly also in partner maintenance. It is not about you, all right? Ultimately, it is about them. I'll read you another quote here from Regis McKenna. Right here, right now, tailored to me, dished up the way I like it. If today's consumers, read partners/donors, posted their expectations on a billboard, that's what you would read. Isn't that true? Think about your own behaviors. Think about your own preferences. Don't you want it your way? We've been told for decades now we can have it our way. Go to Burger King and hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders don't upset us. All of that kind of stuff. We have our iPods that can put our personal CD collection on our little electronic device, and we carry that around with us because that's the music that we like, and we don't want to listen to this stuff on the radio, and we certainly don't want to hear the commercials that are there. All right? We can do it the way we want. Think about that in context with your donors. It's their values that we're trying to connect with. It's their expectations that we have to meet. It's their ideas of what makes a powerful ministry that is going to attract them to you or keep them from you or keep them engaged with you, etc. It's their concern for results. It's their concern that they're doing what God wants them to do that makes a difference as well. All of these things boil down to the fact that we can't do what we typically do, and that's focus on us and our needs. And just about every missionary I've ever encountered, the first time when they get in touch with me, the talk is mostly about them and their ministry. And yes, of course we're interested in that. But very rarely do they ask a question to my wife and myself about, well, what kinds of things have you been involved with? What's God called you to be involved in from a ministry standpoint? Have you ever been overseas? Do you know what it's like to be in a different culture? it comes down to, I've got to present my ministry in the 5 or 10 minutes that I have, and then I got to get out of there because I'm uncomfortable. That's not what people are looking for. Connectedness means being comfortable with each other. And that means you being as comfortable with them as them knowing and being comfortable with you. Okay? Keep that in mind, and I think you'll go far. Missionaries tend to think of their support team as a group, a partner team, rather than as individuals. It's virtually impossible to have a meaningful relationship with a group of people who are varied in their ages, their abilities, their geographic locations, their church affiliations, their professions, their beliefs, what television shows they watch, what movies they go to, whether they like old music or new music or no music or any of those kinds of things. How do you have a relationship with people unless you begin to engage them at that level? And when I say relationship, I'm not just talking about opening a checkbook every month and writing you a check. I'm talking about really understanding who these people are and being able to minister to them for the lifetime of their involvement with you. That's really what we're talking about here when we're talking about partner development. Okay?